The air was thick with the stench of fear and impending doom. It was April 30th, 1945, and Adolf Hitler, the once invincible Führer of Nazi Germany, was living his last day. The man who had plunged the world into chaos was now trapped, a rat in his own crumbling bunker. The once mighty Third Reich was on the verge of collapse, its armies decimated and its cities reduced to rubble. For months, the Red Army had been steadily advancing towards Berlin, their fury fueled by years of Nazi brutality. The once unthinkable was now a terrifying reality. The Soviets were at the gates of the capital, their guns thundering within earshot of the Führerbunker. Inside this subterranean world, cut off from the daylight and the horrors unfolding above, Hitler's inner circle gathered. They were a motley crew, bound by loyalty, fear, or both. The weight of defeat pressed heavily upon them. The news from the front lines was consistently grim. The once boastful pronouncements of victory had given way to desperate whispers. The man who had promised his people a 1,000-year Reich was now facing his own imminent demise. His health, both physical and mental, had deteriorated drastically. He was a shadow of his former self, his body racked with tremors, his mind consumed by paranoia and delusions. Yet, even in these final hours, a strange sense of detachment seemed to grip him. He spoke of Germany's betrayal, of his people failing to live up to his vision. The morning of April 30th dawned, but the sun brought no warmth to the cold, damp confines of the bunker. Hitler emerged from his private quarters, his face pale and drawn. He held a brief military conference, clinging to the delusional hope that a last-minute counteroffensive could somehow salvage the situation. But reality soon shattered his illusions. His generals, their faces etched with exhaustion and despair, painted a bleak picture. Berlin was surrounded, they reported. Escape was all but impossible. The Red Army was closing in, and defeat was inevitable. Section 4. Refusal and Orders. The news, though not unexpected, seemed to drain the last vestiges of fight from Hitler. He retreated into his private quarters, accompanied by Eva Braun, his longtime mistress who had chosen to stay by his side until the very end. It was there, in the silence of his bunker, that Hitler made his final, fateful decisions. He refused to contemplate surrender, seeing it as an utter humiliation. He would not allow himself to be captured, to be paraded before the world as a defeated tyrant. Instead, he chose death, a self-inflicted end on his own terms. He dictated his last will and testament, a rambling document filled with justifications for his actions and condemnations of those he perceived as his enemies. Section 5. The End of the Reich. He gave instructions for his body and Eva Braun's to be burned after death, a final act of defiance to deny his enemies the satisfaction of capturing him. Later that afternoon, as the sounds of battle drew closer, Hitler and Braun secluded themselves in his private study. A single gunshot echoed through the bunker, followed by an eerie silence. When the door to the study was finally opened, a haze of gunpowder smoke hung in the air. Hitler and Braun were found slumped on a small sofa, their faces pale and lifeless. The reign of the Nazi dictator had come to an end, not in a blaze of glory on a battlefield, but in the darkness of a bunker, brought down by his own hand. Section 6. Legacy of a Dictator. News of Hitler's death spread like wildfire, sparking a mixture of relief and disbelief across the war-torn world. For some, it marked the end of a nightmare, the downfall of a regime that had unleashed unimaginable horrors upon humanity. His death did not erase the horrors he had inflicted upon the world. The Holocaust, the systematic genocide of millions, would forever remain a chilling testament to the depths of human cruelty. The world was left to grapple with the devastating consequences of his reign, the millions of lives lost, the cities destroyed, and the deep scars etched upon the human psyche. The legacy of Adolf Hitler is a cautionary tale, a stark reminder of the dangers of unchecked ambition, blind ideology, and the seductive power of hatred.